All right, excellent. We are talking today with Danielle Turner. It is wonderful to see you, Danielle. How are
Thank
you
you,
today?
Liz. I'm good.
So, Danielle is a co-author of Dear Therapist, You Deserve More, and you actually wrote two chapters
I
in the
did.
book. Yeah, you wrote Self-Care, Love, and Luxe, which I just love this so much. And also, it just makes me feel good in my
I
body.
know,
I can't help
right?
it. um, and know your worth. And you have two businesses that you're running, which I
Yes.
also love. This entrepreneurial spirit is fantastic. So you run Inner You Clinical Services and also the Luxe Reset Collective. Could you talk a little bit about both of those so we can get to know about them?
Or so NRU Clinical Services is a BIPOC group mental health practice. We're
Mm,
located in Bloomfield, and we do individual therapy with couples, children, families, adults. So we see ages like 10 and above.
mm-hmm,
We are all women of color practice
mm-hmm,
right now at this point. And I just love my staff. I love what we do for the community. Um, and therapy is just it's just my thing, right?
mm-hmm.
So, but my passion is the Luxe Reset Collective. Because I love everything self-care. And
Mm-hmm,
so I went through a really depressive time at one point. And one of the things that saved me was going to therapy and, creating my self-care plan and then being intentional about my self-care. And one of the things I did for self-care was travel.
mm-hmm,
And so I just one day was like, I love to travel. I love to see other places. And it was so instrumental in helping me get to a better place. Why not take other women who have like-minded experiences and, things in common and take them to these experiences as well so
mm-hmm,
that they too can get that same I can't think of the word, like that same feeling, that same transformation, from
mm-hmm.
traveling and seeing other things and just resting, you
It's so
know?
wonderful. Yeah. And for myself, traveling sometimes has been the thing that gave me the respite from
Mhm.
whatever it was that I was facing, that sometimes you just can't. Yes, there's a lot of self-care you can do where you are, where you're living, but
Mhm.
something about getting just out a Dodge or whatever the thing is
Exactly.
can feel
Mhm.
so refreshing and just filling up your spirit, and can also just kind of waking you up when you feel just like heavy and burdened by a lot
Exactly.
of, and so many
Mhm.
people I'm sure that you're working with or interacting with, or people that are running businesses, right? They're carrying so much.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's so beautiful that you're creating that space for people.
Yes, just to have a reset, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
the women that attend the retreats, like we have such a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep them small and intimate so that people are able to be vulnerable and to open up and to
Mm-hmm.
have that transformation.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a great time. So the last one was in Bali, and we went to Dubai and Bali,
Oh my
and we had
goodness.
such an amazing time. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
incredible.
so
And
those are.
what I'm curious, what is it open to all women? Like who generally goes on the retreat? Like what type of folks, I guess I would
Yep.
ask.
So
Yeah.
women
Hmm.
is my specialty. I've
Yep.
been asked so many times to do like couples, and I'm like,
Right.
eh.
Not now, yeah.
Yeah,
Just the
but you
ladies.
never know. Down the line, maybe.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
right now, the focus is women,
Yes.
professional women, women who may have the empty nesters or older
Mm,
children, women who've gone through transformations, so divorces and,
yes.
being caretakers for our parents and just,
Yes.
those life transitions that are challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the women who typically gravitate towards my retreats,
Mm,
who really need that reset after they've gone through like a difficult life
mm,
transition.
mm. So smart. That's so lovely that you're providing that avenue, and within a intimate community of people that get it, right?
Right,
That yeah,
exactly. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so your two different chapters, I'd love to talk about them. So the first one, self-care, love, and Lux. What inspired you to write this chapter? I
Love
love
the
the
title.
title.
Because again, self-care is so important. And I don't feel that just in general, no matter what profession you work or
Mhm.
what you do, we just don't take care of ourselves enough. We
Mm.
really don't, just as humans in general, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And so, especially when you're a therapist or in a mental health field,
Mhm.
we are taking care of everyone else all day long. People are just pouring all their stuff on you, right?
Right.
You're holding so many secrets, is what I say
Right.
for
Yeah.
people, right? And just,
Yeah.
giving them space so that
Yeah.
they can heal.
Yeah.
Well, what about yourself, right? And sometimes I think we forget about us
Yeah.
and we feel like, well, we're the healer, so we don't need space. But we absolutely positively need the space and time to also take care of ourselves as mental health professionals. And then it prevents burnout because burnout is a real thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I've seen people just pass out at work
Yeah.
because they're overly stressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just not a good place to be.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I know. So before I became a publisher, I was working in the nonprofits for 15 years, and I saw it, right? The need
mhm,
never ends for people.
never.
They're out in the community. There's the need never ends. And if they aren't in a space or an environment that is really cultivating this kind of self-care
Hmm.
in the organization or what have you, it can just burn you out. And I during the pandemic, I was actually a mental health coach
Mm,
online, right, for
mhm,
talking to people all over. And I would be done with, I'd do these calls and then I'd have to go lay down. I'd have to go,
right.
I'm like, I gotta go lay down. And I had a bed right there. I was able to do it. But
You're
if
right,
you're
because
in
you're
a setting
drained.
where like, what do you do when you're hearing all these things that it's like
Mhm,
there's so much to take in, and what do you do with that? So
mhm.
um
And a
mm,
lot of times when you're a new therapist, right? Because our book is kind of geared towards up and coming therapists, right? When you're a
yep,
new therapist, typically
yep,
you start off in some kind of nonprofit or agency
right,
work.
right, yeah,
They're going to have clients back to back to back to back to back, right? And so
right,
you you will get drained, you will get burned out very easily if you're not
mm,
taking care of yourself. And even if
right,
you have a private practice, right? Now
mm,
you have a business that you're
right,
running. They
yeah,
don't teach us how to be business people in school. They just teach
right,
us how to be therapists. So now
yeah,
you have to juggle how to do both those things and
mm-hmm,
still hold space for other people.
right,
Again, straight fire to burnout if you're not taking care of yourself.
right, right,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And your second chapter, know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
I love this
Mm-hmm.
for therapists and social workers, right? Because so many people are, thought they can't make money doing
Exactly.
the work, or there's something wrong about if you even care about money when you're in the
Exactly.
helping professions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just important to know that you went to school, you paid those bills or still paying them,
Probably.
right?
Yes.
Probably still paying. You had to
Right.
do those 3,000 postgraduate hours, those
Right.
100 clinical hours, or whatever your licensure hours, clinical hours require. That's a lot of time and effort. You
Mm,
are an expert at what you do. Why
mm,
give that away for free? And
mm,
of course, there are going to be times where, yes, you want to give back to your community. There might be events or situations where it's helpful for you to give out some free information,
mhm,
but we can't do that all the time, right? You don't want to be passionately poor, is what I call it, because you want to give your all to everyone
mm,
else.
right.
So it's very important to understand, like, you went to school for this. This is what you do. You're an expert in your field.
Mm,
Yeah, stand up
mm.
for yourself and get a little money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we've touched on this. Are there other pieces of advice that you have for therapists that are just starting out? What would you let people know?
I think for me, again, taking care of yourself is super important.
Hmm.
Making sure that you have a good support system, because that's
Hmm.
very important. Have a good community
Yeah.
outside, well, in work too, but outside of work.
Hmm.
Mentors, coaches, individuals who can kind of help you navigate what you should be doing and how to
Hmm.
go about doing certain things, I think is very important.
Mm,
And just having a good sense of who you are, like your own self
mm,
awareness is
hmm.
important. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think those things are really important.
Mm, that's great advice.
Hmm.
Anything else that you'd like to let our audience know about today?
I think too, when we talk about like knowing our self-worth as a therapist,
Hmm.
making sure that not only are you getting some money, right? But
Hmm.
know your audience, right? So if you don't, and I'm a big firm believer of, I'm not going to talk about something I have no idea what I'm talking about, right? So
Right.
I don't know how to potty train a puppy. I am not going to be like, Liz, you should do XYZ with your puppy. I have no clue, none whatsoever, right?
Right.
So there's so many areas in the mental health field. There's so many things that you can do. Like make sure that the audience that you're talking to is really the audience that resonates with you and aligns, right,
Mm,
with who you are and what you do or what your niche is.
mm,
Um, because then that's also where you're going to get the money,
hmm.
because then people are going to see your value because this is the thing that you actually are expert in.
Mm,
And so they're going to say, hey, I should call Danielle, or I should call Liz because this is what they do, right?
right.
No one's going to call me to talk about publishing a book. I have no idea. And if they do,
Right.
they should not pay me any money at all.
Right, but I can see that as I've grown in my business and running things and connecting with people, is there was a feeling, I think, when I first was starting out, is, oh, if somebody's coming to me and I've got to figure it out myself, I got to figure out how to do this because they asked me. And as I've learned and grown and everything, is
Mhm.
to learn what I love the most, that I'm just good at naturally, and that I've learned from the experience, and then find the people that know it, and
Mhm.
send the people to those person, right? It doesn't
Right.
make sense for me to try to keep everything in my head and do it. And
Exactly.
we're actually stronger when we
Together.
can, share resources and help people reach
Mhm.
their goals in a different way. So that,
Right.
yeah, that's
But I
smart.
think that also goes back to having that community. So if you have like-minded individuals in your community, then
Right.
you're going to collaborate with
Hmm.
individuals who are going to support you, lift you up, build you up, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and therefore when someone calls me and says, "Hey, I heard you're a therapist, you wrote this book. Can you publish a book for me?" I cannot, but I can send you to Liz,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because now
Right.
she's part of my community. And
Yep.
now vice versa, you have someone who says, "Hey, I need to know about self-care." Well, guess what? I know Danielle,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so you're
Yeah.
able to collaborate and grow together and
Hmm.
really support each other, throughout
Yeah.
whatever you do within the mental health field, which I think is really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that is something that I think, from reading all the different chapters that everyone wrote, it was really interesting to see how people do go into an area and
Mhm.
get to claim that area as something that they are an expert in,
Mhm.
and how that kind of evolves and how they came to that. That's something that is touched on in the book a lot, and I think is very interesting, because at the beginning, I know when I first got my master's, I in social work, I went, okay,
Now what?
now what do I do? Right? It felt very overwhelming at the time, just not knowing what to do. And but it's very affirming to know that you can specialize, get clear on that. It's okay to not know a little bit,
Mhm.
and to explore different things. And then at some point, it's you can kind of take ownership of stepping
Right.
into, what, this is what I'm really passionate about. This is what I
Right.
really want to be known for.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that, the community will respond to that type of
exactly.
ownership. Yeah.
I think that also goes back to self-care too, because then you're actually doing the work that you enjoy. It
Hmm.
is nothing worse than having a client who is not really your person, right? You're the person you really want to work with.
Right.
You're going to burn yourself out. You're already frustrated, irritated as soon as you see that client's name on your schedule. It's just like, oh gosh, now, right? And so I think it's
Hmm.
really helpful if you are working with a population that you enjoy, you're working
Hmm.
in whatever niche that you really enjoy doing,
Hmm.
you're going to take care of yourself better
Hmm.
than, right, if you're working with a population that you don't enjoy. So I
Yeah.
don't particularly care to work with children at this point in my career.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
had many years in, working in child protection and with children. So that's
Right.
not my thing.
Right.
I'm
Yep.
not going to see anyone who's under the age of 18
Yep.
because I'm not going to be doing my best work. Not that I can't, but
Right.
I'm not going to do my best. So now I'm going
Hmm.
to burn myself out because I'm just here, and I'm also not helping the client either.
Right.
So I really think it's really important that once you know what you enjoy and you know the population that you want to work with, that's
Hmm.
going to help you take care of yourself a little bit better too.
And it's interesting when you first come into something, you don't know, you might not, sometimes we decide to follow a path because that's all you've seen, right? You might
Right.
start working with kids because that's what you think being a therapist is that, or that's what you've seen other people do. And so you might not know that it's out there, and just giving people permission to, you are allowed to change lanes.
Yes.
If it's like, actually, I don't know if this is working for me, that
Exactly.
you can kind of shift
Mm-hmm.
and do something different.
Mm-hmm. And
That's good.
try different things out to see what you like
Hmm.
because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But if you never worked with children, you don't know whether you like them. If you never worked with the elderly, you don't know whether you like them or not. So
Right.
you might have to try out a couple of different things
Yeah.
and a couple of different populations to really figure out what
Hmm.
it is that you really want to do.
You said this very interesting thing, which is um, around self care and your schedule. And I liked how you said, like, if you look at your schedule and you're like, oh, I have to meet with this person, and you're like, that it, what an amazing practice of self care for you to notice, like, when you are doing that
Mm-hmm.
in your life. Because if you can create, and this obviously takes time, but to look at, okay, where am I spending my time? Who am I meeting with? Who are my clients? And what
Mm-hmm.
feels better for me? It doesn't feel, feels lighter. What can I shift? That's such an amazing
That
tool of
is.
self care,
That
to
definitely
take the
is.
time to do that.
I'm also a big component for when you said schedule your self-care. Like
Mm,
we
yes.
schedule going to the dentist, a doctor, the nails, like
Right.
everything, right? We schedule nowadays.
Yep.
Why not put your self-care on your calendar the same way?
Mm-hmm.
Block out that time so it's on
Yes.
your calendar and you already know tomorrow at XYZ time, this is what I'm going to be doing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Yeah, because if you don't block it off, something else is going to get in there.
For sure.
Something, it will find a way. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
So on Facebook, I'm Danielle Turner.
Hmm.
Um, I'm also on Facebook as Interview Clinical Services.
Hmm.
And then on Instagram, it's the Luxe Reset Collective.
Mm,
And they also have an Interview Clinical Services page on Instagram as well.
perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for taking the
You're
time to
welcome.
talk with me
Thank you
today.
for having me.
You're welcome. Take care.